Do you feel all right,
weird.
Prepare to hear horrific tales of incarceration, heartbreak and hauntings. Hello, I'm Yvette Fielding, and this is Most Haunted. We're no strangers to Devon and its host of haunted houses. But today we visit a manor house that is oozing with tales of paranormal existence. How well founded will these be? We have 24 hours to unlock the secrets of Chambercombe Manor. The seaside town of Ilfracombe often attracts crowds, but how many are drawn to its very own paranormal hotspot, a manor house that has a very tragic tale to tell? The earliest available records list a lord of the manor way back in 1162, and in addition to its priest holes, a licensed chapel was added in 1439. Then, a century later, the Otway family's short but significant stay began. And although their dubious means of income would return to haunt them, a succession of families were happy to call this their home. Recently its role changed to a working farm, until in 1979 the Chambercombe Manor Trust took ownership, allowing you and I to visit during the summer months. The spirit of a woman called Elizabeth Vi has been seen walking on this 400-year-old floor. The spirit of a man has also been felt by the fireplace, and an old woman dressed in black has been seen sitting on the windowsill.
In the 1650s, this belonged to the Otway family. They were, as many Devonshire families, smugglers and shipwreckers. Legend has it that William Otway was running out of money. His daughter had left and married an Irish sea captain. They hadn't seen her for years. They wrecked a ship, many bodies. They found a young woman lying on the sand. She'd been bashed against the rocks, her face was badly disfigured. He robbed her, then realised she was still alive. Brought her back here to the house unconscious, laid her in a bed. 5 days later, she died. William was then wondering how to dispose of the body. Went down to the pub in Ilfracombe and was talking to some people who'd got a list of all the people that had been on the shipwreck. There was only one woman. They gave him the name, and it was his daughter, Kate. They didn't know what to do with the body, and so they bricked up the room where she was and left her lying in the four-poster bed.
This is the four-poster bedroom, and there are so many ghost stories attached to it. It has to be one of the most scariest rooms I've ever visited. A child wearing swaddling clothes has actually been seen inside this cot as it rocks from side to side. And as if that wasn't scary enough, the ghost of a woman wearing a grey long dress and a mop cap has been seen standing over it. When people sit in this chair, some of them complain of feeling ill. Others talk about being pushed off. So far, so good. I feel absolutely fine.
In the 1880s, a farmer rethatching the roof noticed that there was an extra windowsill. Came inside and broke through the wall and found in the four-poster bed the skeleton of that girl, still there to that day.
Which brings us to the priest hole. Now this just wasn't used by the clergy, it was also used by smugglers, and in the dead of night, dark groans can be heard echoing from it.
Since I've been here, the paranormal experience I've had, I'm mostly with a little girl about 6 years old, roughly 6.
She wears a little a darky blue dress, and she has ringlets, brown hair.
We think her name is Ellie, and she's normally coming around with me when I'm on my tours. I usually say a few nursery rhymes to her when I start in the mornings, and I say goodnight to her before I go home at night.
This room holds a terrifying secret. A young girl aged 6 died in this very room, and her ghost has been seen playing in this area along with her friend. 2 male entities have also been witnessed in here, and one of them supposedly is not a nice character. With cold spots and poltergeist activity, this particular area is going to be very interesting tonight. Parapsychologist Kieran O'Keefe has investigated many manor houses. So what attracts him to this particular property? And how does he intend to get the most from our stay? Kieran, this is an exceptional place for us to investigate because there's so many stories here.
And they're really intricate. You know, they have links to the town, links to the local area, links to lots of historical figures, and I just find that fascinating.
Now, one particular room has a horrible story attached to it, which is where a skeleton of a young woman was actually found sealed up in the room. What do you want to do with that room tonight? Because apparently that's quite an active place.
I'd like to make that an experimental room for at least part of the investigation and focus a lot of equipment there. EMF, temperature, humidity, air pressure, also have trigger objects and have a number of different cameras and motion sensors, and hopefully see if we can pick something objective up.
The good thing about this investigation is that where we're actually based is in another building away from here. So when people come on a vigil, we know for a fact there is definitely nobody else in here.
With the crew being in a separate building and having that walk to the haunted location each time they conduct a vigil, it's building up the anticipation and the fear. So certainly is something psychologically to look out for.
There is a couple of houses nearby, but there's sort of no main roads, it's not busy, is it?
It's certainly not busy around here, so yeah, we're not going to get any extraneous noise from outside that we could misinterpret as some sort of paranormal communication. It's going to be fantastic, and with these historical accounts, some of us know in depth about the stories, others don't. But what you're finding with each investigation is that the whole evening seems to build up a narrative of its own. You know, so it starts off with a few little phenomena that people are experiencing, and then it's a case of getting information from the medium that's attributed to a spirit or a previous story, and we build up on that, and in the seance maybe get more detail about the story. So as the evening goes on, we're almost building our own story that matches the previous accounts, and I think if we get that would be good.
This house may offer a relatively uninspired exterior, but what lies inside? Before medium David Wells's arrival, guest psychic Gordon Smith would start in the room that for a century and a half lay untouched by human hand. Then it was a crypt for the corpse of a deserted daughter, but nowadays is the centre of the paranormal phenomena at Chambercombe Manor.
I know I've got to get into this room because this is sort of where things happen for me. And again, I'm in this room, but I'm not. I'm also behind this room, here. I'm sorry to keep walking a bit like this, but I want to be between here and here, in this space behind the room.
Right.
Can you imagine somebody being bricked up in a wall? Mm-hmm. Or somebody being buried beneath floorboards or something like that? There's some very, very strange about this. Right. Catherine, or Kathleen, I'm not sure which, Catherine, Kathleen. It's a name like that that's being shouted out here. This is to do with Ireland, to do with Dublin and in and around that area.
Oh, right. You're on the right
somewhere
track.
called Blackwater, because that's what she's showing me here. And I actually get the sense of the woman coming forward herself. She's not an old woman, I feel as though. Very, very thin woman. Quite a pretty looking woman, I would say. And there's something about her death that has caused a lot of bad feeling, a lot of guilt. She herself feels terrible.
So we can help her?
I would say so, absolutely. I hope so, because this is something that I feel really, really strong.
Despite dozens of landlords living here, Chambercombe is a manor house shrouded in the grief of one particularly unsavoury family. But will the extent of their grief fully manifest as our investigation reaches the witching hour?
Can you hear my voice?
It's moving, it's moving.
Cops walking.